Hi, I'm Lance Lambert. Thanks for tuning into the Vintage Vehicle Show. We are in Lake Stevens, Washington at the Aquafest Car Show. This is a show that happens every year. It's one of the best in the Northwest. Beautiful environment, a beautiful Pacific Northwest day, very warm. You're going to meet some great people, see some great cars, listen to some great music. So what did I tell you last week and the week before and every week prior to that? I want you to kick back, relax, and enjoy the show. I've got some advice for you. If you want to get someplace quick, if you want to get to the grocery store quick or get to work quick, this is the kind of car to own. Gino, tell us about your car.
It was built in 1969 and run by Dave Huff, and it was the world's fastest fuel altered in its day. It got sold a few times and retired and ended up in a museum in Minnesota, and then I bought it, restored it, and put it back on the track, and I make exhibition passes with it.
The name Nanook, how did that happen?
Well, the lore is that it was came from one of the crew members' wife that was wearing a white fur coat, and they stuck the name together and decided that was going to be for the car. So,
the power plant on this, obviously a Chrysler Hemi. Tell us more about that.
It's a 58 Chrysler Hemi, 392. It's a 30 overbore. It's got a stock stroke. It's got a Hillborn injector that's had extensive modification by Fresno Speed and Marine. They have helped with a lot of the stuff, but it has a it runs about 70% nitro. It's got a Don Zig magneto, Mert Littlefield blower, and it's capable of about 2,000 horsepower.
And the record on this car, or the history as far as times turned?
I think its fastest pass was I believe is 690 at around 214, and that is really hustling.
This gentleman standing next to me, no doubt he's the pilot these days. He's the guy driving this, or is that right, Caleb?
No, not really.
Well, I saw you earlier, and you were having a lot to do with getting this thing fired up. Looked like you're doing a good job.
Yeah.
You ever see that footage of that guy getting sucked in the jet engine on the aircraft carrier?
No.
Well, that's what I kept waiting for, was you just to see your feet sticking out of there.
Yeah.
Tom, and what's your involvement here?
I'm just friends with Gino. I work with him at Boeing, and he asked me to come and help out today, and I'm more than happy to do so.
Would you be the guy that funds this? I know that it costs like $200 every time it fires up, and you look like a guy that's just got tons of extra.
I left the tip for breakfast. Thanks. Yeah, he's on his own on that one.
Yeah.
So the future of this, just more exhibitions and
Yeah, a little more. And I do some shows for Warren at Sandblasters Inc. They help me out. They're my sponsor, and I'm really happy with that. And it allows us, yeah, to get out and do some stuff with it.
All right. Well, it is really cool. And do you think there's any possibility you might fire it up for us?
I think there's a really good possibility that we can throw some nitro in the air here.
You've got your concrete shoes, so you'll stay stuck to the ground?
Yeah.
All right, thanks, guys. Let's see this thing run. Way back in about 1962, I was driving a 1948 Chevrolet in high school, so this 47 Chevrolet caught my eye. Beautiful car, just stands out here at the car show at Aquafest, and the proud owner standing next to it is
Ed Matson.
And Ed Matson, this is phenomenal. Tell us about your car.
Well, it's a 47 convertible. It's been all redone right from bare metal all the way up. It's got a 350 Camaro engine, twin port fuel injection, overdrive transmission. Got the electric Camaro bucket seats, tilt wheel, Dakota digital dash, vintage air conditioning. Just a very sound car, very nice. Got the Mustang front end, Budnick wheels. Drives like $1 million, and it's just, I'm very happy to have it. My wife and I enjoy it very much.
One of the things that makes it such a striking car is the color combination between the exterior and interior. It's something, to my mind, I wouldn't make that choice, but when you see it, it's like, oh, this really works well.
Yeah, it's bluish green is what they call the color. It's a PVG paint, and then the navy top and the purple and turquoise interior with a little bit of mauve trim. And it turned out really, really impressive. Everybody loves the interior. It's a kind of a real eye catcher, and we're very proud to have it.
Another eye catcher is the trailer behind it. Tell us about that.
Yeah, it's a little, I believe they make them in Oregon. It's a little fiberglass trailer, and when we travel, we have to have a little more room for our toys and and our clothes. You know, my wife, for women, they have to have plenty of clothes, and it's real handy. It kind of adds. It looks kind of like the car, and it works out real well. It's kind of a nice little, sets the car off a little bit.
All right. Well, thank you. It's a beautiful car, and thanks for being on the Vintage Vehicle Show today.
Oh, thank you.
You know, here at the Aquafest Car Show in Lake Stevens, Washington, if they had an award for long distance, I think our friends here, Ron and Joan, would win. They have come here all the way from Florida. How was the trip?
Well, it took 6 days, but it was very enjoyable.
And the trip was taken in a beautiful 1951 Ford Woody. This is just a magnificent car. Tell us a little bit about how you acquired it or the construction of it.
Well, I had a 70 Mach 1, and I had to sell that to purchase this vehicle. And we found it in an old Ford Trader, and it was in St. Petersburg, Florida.
The assumption would be made by the viewers that a lot of Woodies would be in Florida because being next to the ocean and all that. Is that the case, or are they pretty rare there? Is it mostly
Very rare.
Okay. The process of bringing the car up to the gorgeous state it's in now, was that years or months or decades? What was that process?
It was 2 years. We finished up on June 15th this year.
And you think of Woodies that are under reconstruction as probably having rotted wood everywhere and just being a rust bucket. Is that the case, or was this something pretty good to start with?
This was no rust, but wood was in dire need. I had to make some pieces up. And we purchased most of this wood from Rick Mack in Tacoma, Washington. Mm-hmm. But the original wood wasn't bad at all.
And the running gear on it?
The running gear was the flathead, but we changed it over to a modern Ford.
Mm-hmm. And Joan, what's the coolest thing about driving this car?
The surfboard on top.
Probably gives you a good wind resistance. Now pushes the car down.
No, it keeps the speed down so he can't go too fast.
Oh, I see. Very good. Well, this is an absolutely gorgeous car. Thanks for being on the show, and hang 10, I guess, huh?
Yeah, thank you.
What could be better than rolling into a car show in a beautiful 1929 Ford Roadster pickup? Robert McLean, I understand you just had that pleasure.
Yeah, I've been working on it like 3 years. I think I've had it 3.5 years or so, and just got it finished. And I'm really happy with it.
What was the inspiration for it?
In the Good Guys magazine, there's a drawing of a 29 Roadster pickup with a bunch of boxes in the back, and it's a drawing in the front of the book under readers' questions or readers' responses or something. And that was the inspiration, and then a friend of mine saw this sitting in a field up in Ferndale, and from there on, it's just history until here it is.
So they really can be found out in a field somewhere.
It was sitting up there all rusted and just sitting there in pieces, but we put it back together.
Was it rusting into the ground, or was it a decent start?
It was pretty rough. It was pretty rough. It was no engine, no floor.
What's the running gear on it?
TCI frame and 9-inch Ford rear end, chrome dropped axle, and that frame was so nice after I bought that I did the best I could do on the rest of it. So,
Well, Robert, thanks for taking the time to talk to us. This is a beautiful car.
thank you very much.
I love mid-50s Buicks, really like them a lot. I'm walking around here at the Aquafest, and here is a beautiful 1955 Buick. I tracked down the owners. This is a wonderful car. Tell us all about it.
Thank you.
Well, it's 1955 Buick Roadmaster. We've had the car about 3 years and completed the restoration. Another gentleman had started it, and we purchased it from him and completed it, and we've just been enjoying it a lot. You know, take it to a lot of car tours and what have you, and that.
So many of the viewers think that only Ford products and General Motors products were the quick cars out of the 50s. I owned a 57 Buick that was very fast, and you mentioned earlier that this thing just gets up and moves pretty well.
Oh, it does. It with the smaller body, which was the Century, they put the big Roadmaster engine in them, and there was a time that they used them in California for the State Highway Patrol because they were so quick.
That'd be Broderick Crawford.
Right.
Somehow I managed to burn rubber on a dirt road constantly.
Yeah, always.
What is the best thing about owning a 55 Buick?
We just like the nostalgia. It's a classy car. We like the color combination, but it's fun just to get in it and see how other people enjoy it too.
So you never get tired of those thumbs up?
No.
I notice you have Kelsey Hayes wire wheels on it, which are perfect and like they'd made them back then. But you haven't dropped it down and putting pinstriping all over it and flames and chopped it up. No plans for that?
No plans for that. We've decided to keep it all original. We have 2 other Buicks, and they're all original too.
What do you think of car shows in the Northwest compared to, have you had an experience going to shows in other parts of the country?
Yeah, we just got back from a show from last month. We went down to Santa Cruz, the Woodies on the Wharf, and I think the shows here in the Northwest are very comparable to any of those shows.
We've actually covered that show in the recent past. So, well, you mentioned before the interview started that it was okay for me to use your car this afternoon, so I think that's going to be starting right about now.
Just about now, huh? Okay, well, yeah, just feel
Okay, well, I'm going for a ride. Laurel Mullins, this is one of the best examples of a 1937 Ford I have ever seen. It is gorgeous.
Thank you. I've had it for 32 years, but it's taken me a long time to get her done. But first thing you got to have is a understanding wife that wants you to let loose on this. And I finally talked her into it about 4 years ago, and it worked out pretty good.
That's great. So 32 years ago, what did you start with?
I started out with a stock car with 60 horsepower. And I just decided I needed some more horsepower because I had a daughter that lived down in Oregon, and I couldn't go down there and net 60 horse very easily. So I just fixed it all over, put a V8, Ford V8 in it, C4 automatic, 9-inch Ford rear end, and away you go. And it drives just like a brand new car.
Bringing a car up to this exquisite condition, a lot of work involved. What's the toughest thing that you ran across while you were building it?
Oh, just getting the body right. Because the body was in pretty good shape when I got it, but then I had some friends. I had a few setbacks on body guys, but then I finally found one that helped me out and helped me get it finished. And if it wasn't for Maxwell Metalworks and J. Kemp Upholstery, it'd probably still be the same.
And this is, it's not only red, it is red. How did you find a red that was this red, and what is it?
Well, the painter that I found, I was going to keep it all Ford, which it is already, but the color was going to be originally a Ford color, but it wasn't red enough for me, and I just about had it painted, and we almost had the paint in the gun ready to shoot, and then the painter called me back and said, we got some more red that's brighter. So I went over there, and as soon as I saw the sample of that, it was just a matter of seconds, and that paint came out of that can, and then the good stuff went in.
Is the 302 pretty much out of the box and dropped in, or have you done a lot of high performance work to it?
Oh, it's got a nice cam in it, and aluminum manifold, and nice carburetor, headers. It's not stock by any means.
The interior is pretty neat. Who did that for you?
Jay Kemp Upholstery. He did a great job. Him and his daughter actually designed most of it, and they put the red highlight in there, which made it much better because it was just going to be one color gray, and he suggested put the red in there to set it off, and he did a great job.
Come on out here next year to the Aquafest Car Show at Lake Stevens. Great show. Tune in next week. We'll have something else great for you. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.